All right, so we're here at I'm not entirely sure what the name of this little park is. It's about it's a part of the San Antonio River. So we got a tournament coming up here, a bank fishing tournament coming up on the 24th of January. Today's the 15th, so I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do a little pre-fish. Soft plastics. Today I'm going to use a 4/0 thin diameter worm hook, EWG, with a green watermelon trickworm. So that's one of the confidence baits. So what I like to do when I'm pre-fishing, if I'm not too familiar with an area, because this is actually like the second time I've been here, the other time was like just 2 days ago, I try to use baits that I have a lot of confidence in. The Zoom Trickworm is one of them, along with pretty much anything green pumpkin with a Yum Dinger or a Senko or something like that. Stuff like that. Also rage tails. It's kind of chilly out today. It's about 55 degrees. It's been in the mid to low 30s at night, so the water's pretty chilly. But I fished down the other day, probably 300 yards downstream. So I'm taking this biking trail. I'm gonna make my way down to the water here on one of these little, not well beaten paths, but over here to the right. So that's it so far. All right, catch you on the water. All right, so we're making our way down to the water here. It's kind of a rough little walk, not necessarily for the terrain or for the ground, but a lot of these type of just brushy crap. So we're gonna try to find a place down here to pitch in. So I'm just gonna go down here to the water and see what I can find. The danger with this is, you know, of course, making a lot of commotion on the bank. But we're gonna take a couple whacks at some stuff here in a second. Gonna find these little spots to throw out. There's some really good looking water here though. There's rock down here. There's a, there we go. There's rock, there's a lot of overhangs. Seems pretty deep as well, because I initially thought I cast it out there pretty far, but I guess I didn't because it was right on the bottom. So typically when I'm fishing, Typically when I'm pre-fishing, I like to just cover water. There we go. Try to cover water. There's a little bit of current, so my setup today, I'm going weightless, so it might be a little too light. So I may have to put a little bit of weight on there, or go with a heavier type of soft plastic. Love these trickworms because you can fish them relatively slow and they still have just enough action with their body where it's kind of subtle, but it's not too obnoxious. I may want to go on the other side. It looks like it's a little bit easier to fish, but I'm going to stick over here for a little while. 3, so I can cast upstream a little bit against the bank. So that's what I'm going to do right here. So I'm going to pitch up there. I always prefer to cast upstream because the fish typically, if there's any current or whatever, they're going to face upstream. And then if they're facing upstream, I kind of want to bring the food down to them. So that's just what I do there. Of course, you can do whatever you want. You can stay above and drift down or whatever. But to me, it just makes a little bit more sense, or a little bit more betters the odds for them to see it and have a reaction to it if you're bringing it to them like that. And it may look a little bit more natural when you're bringing it down, because you can kind of control it. If you're drifting out there, the worm might have or the soft plastic or your bait may have a different type of keel to it, with the current pushing it in a different direction. Now wacky, that's fine, but if you're having a Texas rig, it could be coming at an odd angle and the fish is like, wait, what's that? I'm not saying that they're that smart, but there's some really good looking cover in this part of the San Antonio River. So on days like, oh, there we go. Nice. So he followed it right up. And if I catch one on a tournament day like this, a couple of them, that's gonna be a good day for me. So yeah, let's get this guy unhooked and back in the water. Nice little guy. Oh, I didn't mean to slap him on the body like that. So he hit right here in front of me, and I was just dragging it along the bottom,